Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you want to know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won. For all things Miami, it's Dolphins Thirsty.
Hello, Mighty Dolphins fans. I'm Rob Mosley, a.k.a. Dolphins Thirsty, and I'm joined by Steve Malloy. He is at Steve Malloy72 on Twitter, and you can find him on this network quite often, and you can find him on the Fins Talk Sports Network. So, Steve, evidently there's rumor that there's some kind of football game in some league tonight. Can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah, I heard there's a game, a Thursday night game tonight. I think it's a team called the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions.
Oh, wow, man. So, hey, we got some football. And on a
Yes, sir.
serious note, I did see Travis Kelce is out in that game, but it's good to have football back. It's not our fins up team.
Oh yeah,
And Shake Money, thank you for coming in. But it's good to have football back. It means in a few days we will be having the fins up Dolphins, and it's either going to be like, Dolphin, we're either one extreme or the other. Everything's going to be great. We're going to the Super Bowl because we're 1-0, or we're going to be 0-1 and the season's over, and it's like might as well pack it in now. So
yeah.
it's overreaction, but it's fun. That's what makes a fan being a fan. And I'm looking forward to this season. And I'm going to ask you, because I did not get to watch it today. I'm a little behind. Vic Fangio, let's get into that nuts and bolts. What did Vic Fangio overall
Well,
have to say today?
I'll be quite frank with you. I didn't see the whole interview. I only saw a portion of where he was an excerpt of where he was talking about Justin Herbert.
Right.
And they asked him about that, of course. And he said, Justin Herbert is a complete quarterback. He can run when he brings down the ball and he takes off and run. He's fast. He's mobile. He can throw the ball anywhere down the field. He can throw it short, intermediate, long, and real long. And he's got an arm. He just can throw the ball from anywhere on that field, and he's a complete quarterback. So he has high praise for Justin Herbert. He knows what he's going up against. He's played him 6 times in the against the Los Angeles Chargers. And Justin Herbert and the Chargers have a 3-3 record against the Vic Fangio Denver team and defenses.
So it's basically a 50-50 going in. So
50-50 going in. And it'd be, really the Los Angeles Chargers are very similar to the Miami Dolphins.
No,
they're really evenly matched. The only difference is that the Miami defense will be tested with balls thrown downfield because the Los Angeles Chargers, they don't have a really good running attack.
right.
And they're better at throwing the ball. So Miami's going to be tested throwing the ball down the field. And Miami's defense, of course, last year, now we don't know this year, but talking about last year, they were really great at stopping the run.
Right.
And this year we're going to see if how the Vic Fangio defense plays against the Chargers. I mean, that's what they're designed to stop the deep ball and the ball's downfield. So we'll see how it goes, man. It's going to be interesting.
And welcome, Raphael, and everyone that's in here. Make sure you throw that thumbs up while you're in here. But yeah, I mean, I agree, man. It's going to be a very close. And the people in Vegas more or less think it's going to be close too, because it's like a 3-point game. The last I saw, someone right around there. And normally they say they give the home team 3. So they're basically saying it's almost like a break-even game. They don't really know who's going to win. And, it's hard in the opener because you don't know what team's going to come out hot. You don't know what teams like going to maybe start the season a little bit slow. And, we'll see, man. It's going to be fun. And like I said, at least we get a little bit of football tonight to whet our appetite until we see the team we really want to see come Sunday. We got to wait all the way till late Sunday afternoon because we're out there on the West Coast. But at least, it's fins up in the very near future. But I'm a little worried
Absolutely.
about the game because I know the Chargers are a really good team, but I feel like the Dolphins are a really good team. So hopefully we come out, we're ready to go. Hey, fins up, RL. Thank you for joining us here tonight. But
Yeah,
yeah, man,
absolutely.
it's a
RL,
good matchup. Like you
Raphael.
said, the teams are basically evenly matched.
Oh
They
yeah.
may do some things better. We may do some things better. They have established pass rushers. We're hoping our pass rushers start living up to their names because we all have big hopes for Jalen Phillips. I think he is going to have a good season, but it's time to put it to show it. Chubb, put it to where it show up because you know they're going to get after us. They're going to do everything they can do. Armstead, I'm going to bet my house that he's going to play. I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
nervous about that.
Yeah.
I do believe at left guard, even though the depth chart says Eichenberg, I do believe it will be Win at the starting. I could be wrong there. And then, the other line, we know what we got. There's no guessing. We got Connor Williams as the starting center. We got Hunt as the guard, and we got Austin Jackson at this point as the right now. Can things, if they don't perform, can things move during the season? Yes, but going into week one, those are the starters. We just don't know about Armstead because of injury, and we don't know. I still think Wynn will end up being because Eichenberg's a little banged up still too, and
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
believe Wynn will start, even though the depth chart says otherwise. That's just my gut instinct. How about
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, well, Eichenberg, I was listening to him. He was had a media interview today as well, and he said that he got hurt in the Atlanta game. Somebody fell on his ribs, and he was banged up pretty good, and that's why he was kept out to rest up. And and it's a good possibility that Win will start. To be honest, I don't think that battle is won yet. I think it's
Yeah,
still a battle going on between that guard position, left guard position, between Win and Eichenberg, and it's a matter of who plays better. And I think Win's going to get the opportunity to play a couple games or two, and then Eichenberg will be coming back in there as well, in my opinion, if he doesn't start this game. Um, it doesn't really matter who starts at that left guard position. I really don't think either one is going to make a big difference. I really don't. It's not like the Los Angeles Chargers is going to plan because Win is playing. You know,
right.
I mean, you got Boza and you got Khalil Mack on the ends. You really think they're worried about Win or if
No,
Eichenberg starts? I don't
no,
think
they're
so.
not.
So,
No. Oh,
I think it's kind of silly for McDaniel not to mention who the starter is. I mean, come on, man.
yeah.
It's Eichenberg and Win, come
No,
on.
I know. I mean,
You know.
hopefully, I would take any better. So if Wynn can be a little better than Eichenberg was last year, or if
Yeah.
Eichenberg improves
Yeah.
his game a little bit better, I just
Sure.
want some
Sure.
improvement. I'm not
And
asking,
that's true. That's true.
yeah,
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, Wynn could be better than Eichenberg, and Eichenberg can make some, can make a step up this year. I
yeah,
doubt it because, I mean, he's had his opportunities. He's played every position on that doggone offensive line, and he completely failed at all of them. And this year,
yeah,
he was getting in practices and joint practices, even before the Atlanta game. He was getting owned.
yeah.
All right, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt after the Atlanta game, of course, he was, maybe the ribs were bothering him. I'm sure they were.
I mean,
So
it could be. I
I'll
mean,
give
it's
him the
tough
benefit of
enough.
the doubt,
No,
you
I
know?
will. But, we just need improvement. Like you say, I'm going to go
Yeah.
really old
Yeah.
school on you from your era. Larry Little's not walking through that door anytime soon. And from,
No, no,
it,
66 is not walking in that door anytime soon, man.
yeah, so unfortunately, we got to do with what we got to do. I would love to have a line like some of those if you could hand plug, have like a Dwight Stevenson at center and all the, but
Oh, man.
unfortunately, you got to go with what you got to go with.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I do believe the line kind of got overbeat down last year. They weren't really as bad as some in some aspects. And pass rush allowed, they weren't the greatest, but Tua didn't get hit that much. And I don't know if that's because of his quicker release or whatever,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
they weren't as bad. And they did open up running holes when we stuck with the running game. We did get some running
Mhm.
yards. So maybe they're not as bad. I just know as Dolphin fans, I think we're all snake bit over the past several years that we haven't had a great offensive line, and it hasn't been very cohesive, unfortunately. And when I read all these ex football players, they say of all the groups on a football field, the offensive line cohesiveness is the most like important because they all have to
Yeah,
work as one
absolutely.
together because they could all four of them could perfectly do their perfect assignment. One of them's not on that perfect assignment, and the whole thing's blown up. Hey,
Evening, Papa
Papa
Paul.
Paul, Papa Paul, he's a good big Miami Dolphins fan. Welcome to the show, Papa Paul. But
Yeah,
let's-
and you're right. You're right. I was watching Richmond Webb. He was on a talking in one of the podcasts, and he was saying the main thing is as you said, the cohesiveness on the offensive line and consistency. You have to be consistent on that offensive line, and that
and what
goes
have
for
the
any
Dolphins
position.
been? They've been consistently inconsistent over.
Eh,
I mean, I
yes,
think over the
yeah,
past 10 years, they've had like 11 coaches, more than one per year, because they fired one within the season. So it's like you can't have cohesiveness. If you're changing your offensive coach every year, it's just not going to happen. So hopefully they get the right talent in there. They stick with their talent in there, and we will be moving forward better. Because, like I say, I know we knocked it a lot, but actually, if you look at the numbers running last year, they weren't as bad as we made it out. But the injury bug
hmm
devastated us along the offensive line,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
Because even when the
yeah.
backups
We were,
came in, they got hurt, and then you're down to the backup to the
yeah,
backup.
yeah. They were playing
So
musical chairs. They were freaking grabbing people off the street, man. And
yeah,
plug and
I know
play in
because
there. And it
yeah,
just it's
no,
not
there's
it's hard to get any kind of consistency or cohesiveness when you get a guy that's just come off the street and he's immediately starting the next game.
yeah. Well, when you said Richmond
So
Webb, that made me think that was a great draft. They drafted Richmond Webb and
oh
Steve
yeah,
Sims in the same year. If we would have hit
yeah,
a lottery like that recently, we wouldn't be
yeah,
complaining about it. But anyway,
yeah.
let's talk about the fun. The fun is the Dolphins are playing this Sunday. Better or worse, this is a team we have. There'll be, of course, some minor adjustments because unfortunately, injuries going to rear its major head. They would pick up some guys probably just off the street and stuff. But for the most part, the roster we see is the roster we're getting. This is going to be the team that leads us to playoff victory for the first time since the year 2000, or lead us to another disappointing season. And I'm leaning towards breaking the playoff win drought. December 30th, 2000 is the last time the
Yeah,
Miami Dolphins have
yeah,
won a
yeah,
playoff game. So I'm betting. I'm not a betting guy, and I would never bet on the Dolphins because I'm a homer and I would just bet them every single time. But I believe this is the year that I'm not saying Super Bowl, but I'm saying that they're going to get at least one playoff win. That's my
yeah,
big prediction.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you what your big prediction. I know what your record is, and your
hmm
record that you predict them is good enough to get them to the playoffs. But now I'm going to
Yeah.
ask because you're at 11-6 in that neighborhood, so that's a playoff berth. But you see them
hmm
finally getting off the snide and winning a playoff game.
Uh
Don't
man.
worry, we're not going to hold you to it. You're like
Yeah, no, no, no.
months
I
away.
don't mind. Hey, I'm gonna say how I
Yeah,
feel. At this point in time, if they get to the playoffs, um, and if everyone, again, a big if everyone's healthy, Tua's playing, yeah, I think we can win another play. I think we can win a playoff game. Sure. I mean, this team has the talent to do it. So yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that they can if they get it once they get there, if they get there. So, and I hate
yeah.
I hate to keep saying if they get there because
Oh
we
no,
just barely got there last year, 9-8 with with
yeah.
basically the same team. So, you know.
No, I agree. And Raphael, I'm just not sure if Ulama is ready yet at this point. And Brilliance is an okay guard, but you do make them. I did believe me. You're 100% right. They will start tinkering with it if things aren't working well. But for right
Mhm,
now, let
mhm.
him just marinate on the practice squad because he had some good moments, they said, but then some not so good moments. And he didn't
Yeah.
get claimed by anyone when he put him out there on waivers. But I do agree that he might be someone for the future. But to start, let's see what we do. But what do I know? And hey, Ender, I know you always do Ender, but throw a Dan Marino laser pass at that thumbs up button. Always good to see Ender in here. So, guys, I just like to say I want to be positive today because you turn on all these channels and so many people either throw out their way over the top, good or bad. So I'm just going to try to be positive and say, hey, let's enjoy the next few days. Watch some Dolphins football come Sunday. Yeah, I want to see. I do too, right? That I am 100% with you. I want to see what he does
Yeah.
against NFL starting caliber players because he looked great, but we don't know. Did he look great because? But then you also have to remember he was also playing behind our not so great offensive line. So where does it balance out? So maybe I like him in that he keeps his Brett Gressi. I probably pronounce his last name, but he's he wrote up very good about Chris Brooks and he was saying that the man keeps his legs pumping at all times. He moves the pile forward, and most of our other backs, once they're hit, they're going down. Unfortunately. But he can power forward and actually break off a tackle and gain some extra yards. And
Well,
I think we're going to be better than what people think in the running game this year. I think because I
mhm,
know
mhm.
everyone was all excited. They're like, "Oh my god, we're talking to Dalvin Cook. Oh wow. Oh, we're exploring a trade for Joseph. Oh wow, we're exploring a trade, for of course Jonathan Taylor, which was a rumor for weeks." And then it turned out, yeah, they kicked the tires, but they walked out of the dealership without buying the shiny new car, and they stuck with the cars they already had in their driveway. And that's where we're moving forward with that group. And I don't think it's a bad group. I really don't. I think it's a solid group that if McDaniel sticks to the running game, they can run the ball well enough to keep a balanced attack. Because I'm going to let you talk about that. I mean, you and I talked on the phone today. We all make football sometimes into rocket science, but the bottom line is you don't even need to be Mr. Oh, I watch all 22. Oh, I study with coaches all day long and I eat, sleep. You need a balanced attack in the NFL. You can't just be only a running game in this team league anymore because eventually you're just going to stack the box and make your quarterback beat them. Or you can't only be a passing game because you're going to take that away. So you got to have
Yeah.
a balance. This is
Yeah.
101. You need it, and every coach it's cliche, but you definitely need a balanced attack. And like
Mhm.
you may want to balance it more. You want to balance within the passing attack. You want to be able to run, be able to do the dink and dimes, which should open up the long game, is what you were saying. So are you still in that line of thought?
Yeah, and before I get into that, I want to make a point too. You were talking about Chris Brooks. Yeah, I definitely want to see Chris Brooks. I think he's going to be our third down and short yardage guy, or fourth. If we go for it, fourth down or whatnot. It's going to be interesting to watch him. I'm really interested in watching him. Uh, Mostert has gained 15 pounds or 10 or 15 pounds this year. So he's playing with more bulk, more muscle. So hopefully that's going to help him, pound the rock and run, between the tackles and in the middle of the field and keep him healthy, keep him
Yeah,
from any kind of injuries. I know Jeff Wilson is already out he with an injury and he hasn't even played the first snap.
I know.
So
Yeah,
that's
he's out
that's
for a
not
few
good.
weeks, and yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
right. But
but yeah, I going back to your question, yeah, absolutely. Um, the way we're going to beat this Los Angeles Chargers team is pound the rock and throw those short to intermediate passes, quick passes. And we're going to see how this line holds up. If the line is not holding up, and if Armstead's not in there, you're going to see a lot more short dink and dunk passes as opposed to even intermediate passes because Tua's going to have to get that ball quick, out of his hand real quick. So
okay, Mr. Court Wright. Sorry if but thanks, man. Don't worry. I mess up names all the time. But Court Wright or Rafa. But Court Wright is easy. I should have said it right. But anyway, thank you, man. But anyway, Finn's up, and like he says, he wants to see that more or less what we chimed in. We want to see him against. Oh wait, the wrong. We're going to the next one. Chris Brooks looks good, but I want to see the dude versus starters. I think that's what we all agree on. I hope Wilkins
so so
keeps.
Raphael is a military veteran. Raphael is a
Yeah,
military
just
veteran.
like
What
yourself.
branch?
Hey,
What branch did you serve, Raphael?
tell him where you serve, Steve.
I was in the United States Army. I served almost 20 years. I actually processed out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
And thank you for your service, Steve.
Thank you, Raphael, for your service. Appreciate you, brother. It's always
Yeah,
nice to see another fellow veteran on here.
yeah, that it is. Oh, there we go. This is
Oh,
answer you saying
Marines. Okay. Marines. Got you, man. So were you at Camp Lejeune?
no Camp Pendleton, but hold on.
Oh, Pendleton.
And
Okay.
29
Yeah,
Palms.
I got you. I've been there. I've been there. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking see, yeah, there you go. He's thanking you for anyway. So now let's get back. Thank you both for your service. So
Oh,
that's awesome.
thank you.
But anyway,
Thank
now
you.
back to Miami Dolphins
Hey, Rob,
football.
thank you for your service. You served our community as a first responder or police officer, so
Yeah,
you did really well serving our community as well, and we
yeah, 20
appreciate you.
plus years of doing that. But you
There
guys
you
going
go.
overseas and stuff is really incredible. But anyway, guys, let's get. But thank you, Steve. But yeah, so the Miami Dolphins, like I say, they're set to take on the Chargers this week. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that. No. Oh, here we goes another. Thank you for your son's service. My son is a major in the Army at Fort Bragg. So,
Nice,
Papa Paul.
nice.
So thank him for his service. But so speaking of service, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. It's like I say, speaking of 20 years, we both did over 20 years in our service. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game, like I said, for over 20 years. Oh man, we got a whole bunch, man. You guys are all awesome. All awesome. And
Nice.
I love it all,
A
man.
lot of
That's it.
veterans, a lot of veterans on here.
That's it. Thank you all. Thank you all, guys. That's awesome. So, it's good to have people that give back to their country, give back to the community. Not only, and Paul is Mr. He gives back to his community by doing all kinds of charity events and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
So we got a good group of guys in here. And more
I heard
importantly, they all love the Miami Dolphins.
Yep,
So,
I heard
well, guys,
Papa
yeah,
Paul is a member of over 40 clubs or something. Is that true, Papa Paul? I heard you say that the other night. So he's a busy man.
yeah, no, he's busy. He's all the time. When you watch his shows, he does all kinds of good stuff. Plus, dude travels all the way from west coast of Florida, somewhere in the Tampa area, and that neck of the woods, and comes down to all the home games. So he's not only a
Mhm.
dedicated person in the community, he's a dedicated Miami Dolphins fan. And thank you again, Mr. Courtwright. So anyway, oh, speaking of guys, we know. Look at this shirt. This shirt here this is my favorite logo, and I bought it on Fanatics. I never asked for donations for my channel, but if you're gonna buy something on Fanatics anyway, you would help out the channel a lot. If you click on the link in mine and you go, you don't pay anything extra. You can use any promo code you want, but they just approve me to be a part of their affiliate program. So if like in my link in my description down there, you will see Fanatics link. And if you do, it would be a little commission to help the channel. And that's it. So that's all. That's my big plug. I'm going to plug my cancer walk here in a few minutes at the end of the show, but that's my
Absolutely.
promo for just a little bit of help. I don't ask for donations straight up like some channels do, but if you're going to buy some good Miami Dolphins gear or whatever team you like, you just click on that link, buy whatever you like, and boom. And it'd be much appreciated. Waiting for my first one yet. I can't wait until I get that email. You got to sell. So we will see. Well, it's just this week, though, But hey,
Yeah,
it's all good. I want to get
good
back
stuff.
on
Good stuff.
Armstead. I want to get back to Teron Armstead because he scares me. Because I know we all talk about Tua being
Yeah.
hurt, and he gets all the press because he's a quarterback. It's the most important position in football. So injuries to Tua, of course, gets a lot of attention. But Teron Armstead, to me, he needs to play. He's not going to play every game this season because he never has in his whole career. But we need him healthy now. But if he misses this game, I'd rather him miss this game if it means he's going to be a little healthier down the line. And, because at playoff time last year, when we were losing all those games, we started falling off a little bit. So, due to injury, and we lost a lot of our stars. So, like I said, man, we got a good group of guys in here tonight. It's awesome, guys. Make sure
Mhm.
you hit that thumbs up. And if you're new, most of you guys are already here and already subscribed. But if there happens to be some new ears listening, please throw a Dan Marino, a laser pass. Or if you're younger, you can say to a laser pass at that subscribe button, and that will also help us out a lot. I don't like Ogba with LB. Yes, I agree. I'd rather see him with his hand in the ground and get after
Yep.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's another name, believe it or not. Omar Kelly says, unless he just balls out this year, that he's probably going to be let go next year because that's going to free
Yeah.
over 10 million. I don't like saying, I just know it's over 10. I want to say 13 million, but I don't want to name it because I hate being that. I like being accountable. I don't remember my memory. I know it was over 10 million. So if Miami moves on for him next year, that will free up because Omar Kelly has a good piece on all Dolphins. But go to dolphinsthirsty.com first, but then go to all Dolphins, and then you will see a good piece from him. And he really breaks down how the Dolphins can free up a lot of cap space. We're not going to talk about that here because this is crazy, but this is a couple moves and we can go from being way under to almost not under at, so that's good. I mean, way over from not being over at all.
Yeah.
So
And Jerome Baker might not be here next year as well.
it is a few. And then what they could do
Yep.
is because they just recently signed Sealer
Yep.
and Ingo to extensions, but their next
Mhm.
year's salary it kicks in, but they can make those roster bonuses because Kelly
Right.
pointed out that the Dolphins are blessed to have Ross in some ways because he's willing to just make it a roster bonus, which means the money's more or less up front for just being on the team. And then they can spread that out over a few years. Kick that can down the road, but hey, at least next year we can,
Exactly. That's what they're doing. They're just continue kicking that can down the road, man. Eventually, that can is going to stop.
Yep.
But anyway,
Speaking of
go.
contract, before
Mhm.
go on, but just remind me, I was going
No,
to say something about
I was
Chris.
just going to make a comment on Ogba. I agree with you, Rob, and I agree with Raphael. I don't like him playing in linebacker position. He looked awful. Yeah, I know it's a new position for him, but he just looked awful. He just doesn't move well for that position. He should put his hand in the dirt. That's where he belongs. Now, he's going to be used as a backup as a linebacker. Now, I could possibly see that, maybe fill in here and there if one of our linebackers goes down, but not for the long haul.
No, that's good.
But
It's good for
anyway,
versatility.
I just wanted to make that comment. That was a good comment by Raphael, and I just wanted to bring that up.
And then Van Ginkel, he played some in the middle. I think a lot of those
Yeah,
experiments they did
yeah,
early in camp was just
yep.
because last year I think they got caught. You pointed out a few times they had no backup plan. Like that old saying, like it's all you have a great plan until someone punches you in the mouth, and then that's what happened to
Oh
the
yeah.
Dolphins. It all was going well. Then you started losing injuries, and there was really no. They just didn't flow the same with all the injuries,
Mm-hmm,
and that
mm-hmm.
is it. Let's see. I better not see Raiders trading D Adams to the Jets. Once Raiders Birds lost, I remember taking my son's Central State games and watching Carr and Adams. Both my sons is hinting. Oh, cool. Well, I haven't even heard that one. I don't know if you heard that somewhere, but that one, yeah, I don't want that.
No, I haven't heard anything about that, but
Maybe he's just
that's the
speculating because I don't
yeah,
know.
but
You can tell it's
yeah.
Mr. Courtwright where you saw that, or you're just worried that something like that can happen. But anyway, before
Well,
I
I will
forget
say
about
this
Connor,
about the New York.
what's
Go
that?
ahead. Go make
I
your
was going to say
no. Go ahead. Make your comment about
Christian
Connor Williams.
Wilkins, at least he may have not been like practicing every day, but he was at camp. Whether you wanted to say he did this for himself, not to get fined, or whether he was a team player and still showed up, but at least he's going to be playing in week one. We could be like the Kansas City guy where
Mm-hmm.
you're still wanting your money and you're holding out right there up until the season. So at least we avoided that. So and I don't know where I know kind of where you lay on the Christian Wilkins. You like him a lot, but you say don't totally break the rank if it means that you're not going to be able to pay Tua down the line. You're not going to be able to pay Waddle down the line. So
Yeah.
that's why they get paid the big bucks. This is why Chris Greer gets paid the big bucks. Their capologist gets paid the big bucks to figure out how to fit all these numbers in. I mean, I like Christian Wilkins as far as a person. His community service. He's always doing things in here in South Florida. He
Yeah.
goes to all the Dolphins Cancer Challenge, which I'll be walking in February. He's always out there. He's a good guy, but he doesn't get some of the sack numbers. And it's going to be interesting to see what Chris Jones gets because if he gets way over the top, I mean, Chris Jones should be paid more than Christian Wilkins is based on production, but he's going to still have a ballpark figure of how much he's going to want to get probably.
Well, look how much Boza just got.
Oh, I know.
Joey
Oh,
Bosa.
Bosa. Woohoo!
That
Highest
was
paid defensive
crazy.
player. I think he's the highest paid non-quarterback in league history.
Yeah,
So
122 million guaranteed. Guaranteed.
guaranteed. Yeah. And
122
he's made
million.
a little bit more money than his dad, unfortunately. His dad was
Yeah.
John Bosa, number
Yeah.
97, at the Miami
Yep.
Dolphins, drafted out of Boston College back in the day. And Bosa, I would never really call him John Bosa, I'm speaking of, on the Dolphins. He wasn't really a bust like we had like an Eric Kumerow, who was an outright bust. Bosa
Right.
just never, unfortunately, avoided. He always got injured, and he just never avoided that injury bug. I think, though, that's why I know if Paul's doing here, he would know that name. RL will probably know that name. But a lot of people are probably too young to even know John Bosa. But that's their dad. Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa's dad, John Bosa, played for the Miami Dolphins back in the day. Yeah, I would say he had his moments. I don't know if you want to say bust. Oh my god, the biggest bust. His name, the guy that we moved up a few years ago. Jeff Ireland was here. Oh man, what's the name of the guy we moved up? He was like
Deion
from
Jordan?
Oregon. What's
No,
that?
was it Deion
Oh, he
Jordan?
was from Oregon.
Oh,
He moved all the way up to around. That was a bust. Someone in here in chat will know. Yes, Deion Jordan. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Deion Jordan. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who
that's
I
what you
thought it
said.
was.
Yeah, Deion Jordan. Yeah. Yeah, that guy, he was a total bust. He goes right down there in Dolphins history
Mhm,
as one of the
mhm.
biggest. Yeah, all the way at 3. And we know when they moved up that night, I'm like, wow, they only moved up and only had to give up a second round pick. This is like a steal of the year. I thought they were taking Lane Johnson, who's still on the Philadelphia Eagles,
Yeah,
being a productive, because the Dolphins needed an offensive line back there. I said, oh, they moved
yeah,
up to get Lane Johnson. We got our line problem settled. And then the Dolphins select Deion. I'm like, what the heck? Whoa, my goodness. I had a hat go across the room,
yeah.
and
You
I
know,
don't react always like that, but I thought for sure they were going up to get Lane Johnson. And you know what? If I was a GM that night, I would have been right. I'm not saying I always would, but that's who I thought for sure. And then, they just didn't. And I was at the draft party when they used to just have the draft on the Saturday there for a short little time. And everyone was saying Brady Quinn. I wasn't that big on that, so I didn't care. But man, I was there. I had never seen Dolphin fans boo so much in my whole life. And I was at the Sammy Smith game where he fumbled a couple times, and those people booed that pick. Like we had just said that the Dolphins are relocating to Orlando, Florida from South Florida. They got that much hate from it, so it was crazy. But yeah, there you go. I'm going to talk Ted Ginn. He wasn't. He did better for other teams. I agree with you. For us, he was
yeah,
not really that great. He means Ted. I'm sure. And Till Green's another guy. Yes, he's a bust
yeah,
because of injury. He's another guy that
yep.
came in, had all the skills, came from the University of Miami, and he was just unfortunately another bust. Hopefully, because Igbo looks like a bust, but maybe Kelvin Joseph, who we traded for, maybe he can at least do something for the Dolphins, and it won't look like so much of a bust.
Well,
Austin Jackson better step up this year, and of
yeah,
course Tua better step up, or that 2020 class is going to start getting. Yep, no,
yeah,
you're right. If it's just mainly injuries, he's right, Papa Paul. Yeah, those are the years, and he was a first round pick out of Boston College, and he just unfortunately he was one of those players that just unfortunately, I know some people, medical people, say, oh, there's no such thing as injury prone or whatever, but some players just for whatever reason they get injured more, and John Boza always got injured.
yeah.
So
You remember Trick Green, the quarterback we got first game of the season? He got hurt, is out.
yeah,
Remember
I
that
know, and that was a move that we
in
did for
Kansas
him.
City? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you
Never
go.
saw him again.
Yeah. Hey, but it beat the Eric Kumerow pick, Papa Paul. Yeah, I know. No, that was bad because people thought we had brought in a guy that could help. And guys, if you love Miami Dolphins trivia, check out dolphinsthirsty.com. Right on the top tab, you can find Miami Dolphins trivia. I have all kinds of just fun stuff. And I kind of bias towards my age. There's a lot of older stuff in there. But I do throw new ones in there every so often too. But it's all good stuff. Yeah, Bernie Kosar. Man, I like this, bringing back some of these old names. Yeah, Bernie Kosar. I remember Steve DeBerg, him on the Dolphins for a while. And
Yeah, you remember that? Wow.
yeah, So,
Yep. We had some good players. I mean, supposedly good players, and they just never panned out on our team. You
yeah.
know,
You know,
Thurman Thomas. We had, remember Thurman Thomas?
yeah.
We
Oh,
had
yeah, he
him.
was Dolphins legend, Hall of Famer, Thurman Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hey, but you know what? It's all okay. But it's just, yeah, there's been so many picks. I mean, I'm sure every single team, every fan across the league all remembers they're bad guys and they're good guys. And it's unfortunately just
Yeah.
proves that drafting is a very hard thing. And
Yeah.
what is crazy is if social media had been around during the Dan Marino era, you would have had those lovers and stuff. But there was actually people that would take in the time to call and say they should trade Dan Marino and go with Scott Mitchell. People would do that. So if you trade, and that's what they were saying, because it was just like I said, there was no, I can't just tweet something stupid back then. I would have to call in and say something stupid. I can't just get on my
Yeah.
phone and, oh, this guy needs to be traded. Then you had to wait like 30 minutes just to get on to speak with Jim Mandich. May he rest in peace and all those guys. But it's just crazy now. No, people had their crazy theories within 1 minute they can have out there for the world to see. But I can imagine if Dan Marino was playing, you'd be having some of your people saying, "Well, he's not winning. I need wins." Do you still have people complaining? That's just how that was it, man. Oh yes, this I know. See, the Blackwood brothers, number 42,
Oh
Lau
yeah.
Blackwood, number 47, Glenn Blackwood, two good guys. Yes, they were also known as the
The
Bruise
Bruise
Brothers.
Brothers.
Put it out,
Yep.
and they were on a mission from dawn. They had a little poster like on a mission from dawn, and they looked like the
Hmm.
Blues Brothers. And they had it
Yep.
like that outfit that the movie The Blues Brothers have. So that was fun. So yes, Papa Paul bringing back some good memories. Oh my God, guys, we need positive. Let's start talking about. Uh, we know another guy that we drafted for a number one pick was Randall Hill, not to be confused with all the Hills we have on the team right now. But then we actually flipped Randall Hill for a first round pick the next year, so it wasn't a total loss. So I guess he just wasn't a fit here. And then he came back and
Mhm.
actually played a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we had some busts, but like all teams. Hey, one thing I would love, guys, if you haven't done so already, I want you to bust that like button though. I do want you to do that. So anyway, let's get back on this game. And hey, I would do some good. We got Jason Taylor in the fourth round, I believe, or the third round. We got Zach Thomas in the fifth round. We got Mark Clayton today. He would have been an undrafted free agent. We got Mark Clayton in the eighth round and Jim Jensen was taken later. We have gotten good picks over the years later. And
Oh yeah.
now we just need to
Oh
do
yeah.
that again. But like I say, Mark Clayton, probably our best receiver or one of the best receiver in Dolphins history. Take away Paul Warfield. I wasn't old enough to remember those days. But the best receiver I've ever played is still Mark Clayton, Mark Duper toss up, and hopefully Waddle and Tariq Hill challenge them, in the next few years. But anyway, let's get back onto this week's game. Going out there. Did you hear today? Are they traveling out tomorrow? I've been meaning to look
Uh
for that today because they normally go
that
out a couple of days ahead of
Yeah,
time
that's
and
a
they go
good
to the.
question. That's a good question. I don't know, to be quite frank with you. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because normally the Dolphins do. Yes, OJ McDuffie, Penn State, number 81.
Mhm.
And another number 81 wide receiver who scored a touchdown in an actual Super Bowl for the Miami Dolphins. Both guys went to Penn State, wore number 81, Jimmy Suffalo. We lost the Super Bowl against the Redskins back in 82. And then
Yeah.
what's the game after AJ Dewey had the 3 interceptions. But so yeah,
Mhm.
we did do some stuff. This is fun, guys, man. I might drop a link in a few minutes if any of you guys want to talk to. I like this old school. I know most people only want to hear the new stuff, but you guys are bringing back good fun to talk about. So, and how much more? Because Steve and I will be on, guys, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. The same tandem you see here. We will be on Sunday morning talking about the pregame, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in the near future, after that, me and Bobby have agreed to do like a tandem show starting in week 2, where it's going to be double the fun. You can catch us on the Fins Talk Sports Network or on Dolphins Thirsty, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you join us. 10 a.m. Sundays moving forward. Steve will be running the shows on the games I actually go to, but all the other games I will be here, all the road games and all that good kind of stuff. Oh yes, Eric Green. That was one. Yeah, that was. Yeah, we got. Yeah, he was good after the catch, but he was on one of our teams that we had a whole bunch of veterans we signed, and it turned out not to be the greatest team, but he did have some moments here.
Yep, he did.
So, but with the Chargers game this week, I know you say the score is going to be 34-31. I'm going to have you save your prediction for the Sunday pregame show when
Yeah.
you got your final. But my take to you is, why do you think it's going to be such a, that would put it over the 51, which I haven't looked the past few days because, like I say, I'm not a gambler. But the last I saw, the point, the over under was like right at 51 area.
Mhm.
So why do you think we're going to score and they are going to score so many points?
Well, I just think because our defense is a new scheme with Vic Fangio, and I think it's going to take, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks to gel. Um, that's just my take on that, and I think that they're going to be struggling a little bit with Herbert, Justin Herbert. We're playing against Justin Herbert, and he plays pretty well against Vic Fangio's defenses. He can throw the ball short. He can throw it intermediate, like Vic Fangio said. He can throw it long. He can throw it real long. So with that and his running ability, when he does decide to run, he is mobile. I just think that that's the reason why I think the Chargers are going to score a lot of points, and then I think Miami's going to score a lot of points because I think they're going to pound the ball. I think they're going to pound the ball, throw some short, intermediate passes. I think Tua is going to throw maybe a couple touchdown passes down there in the red zone once they get down there from pounding the ball and short, intermediate passes, march down the field and some long drives. And then I think they're gonna run some in as well. So I just think
Yeah.
it's gonna be a shootout. It's not gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be a shootout, and it's gonna be a close game, and it's gonna be won by a field goal.
All right. No,
But
that sounds good. Here, Mr. Courtwright, here's your answer. And that there, sorry, you're not getting to see our handsome mugs for a couple minutes. That is courtesy that Steve sent me that he found on Twitter. Those are the guys at the Chargers. You can see, I'm not going to go through all of our lists. Unfortunately, the Dolphins have way too many up there. But Dalen Henry and you got Chris Rumpf. And those are the guys. They're both on the defensive. They're both linebackers, and they both have hamstring issues. That's it. As you can see from the Dolphins, I'm not even going to say it's just a little too many people. But thank you, Steve, for having that graph ready for me.
Oh, no
So,
problem. And Papa Paul here made a good comment. He said that he thinks the defense is coming out and making a statement. I hope so, brother. I hope so, Papa Paul. That's what I want as a Dolphin fan. That's what I want to see. I just don't think it's going to happen, but my heart wants it to happen because I'm a Dolphin at heart. So I'm hoping for the best.
yeah. No, I'm hoping for the best too. I mean, like I say, these are two, like you said, to start this show. They're two very evenly
Yes.
matched
Yeah.
teams.
Very even.
It's
Yeah.
out there, but at least other than the long travel out there, it's not like at least the Chargers have a dramatic home field advantage like the Chiefs do, where it's going to be rocking and there's going to be a lot of Dolphin fans out there. I know a
Mm-hmm.
few I've seen on the shows here all saying they're going to be. I know Big E's going to be out there,
Yeah.
and a
Big
whole
E and
bunch
his
of other
group.
people. I can't even. What's that?
I said Big E, and he's got a group. They're going to be doing tailgating out there, meet up
Yeah, and
at the
so
pink parking lot. He said wherever that is. I've never been to the stadium, but he
yeah,
said that there's a pink parking lot out there. So anybody that's listening, it's in California or or in the Los Angeles area, or is going meet Ian Berger at the pink parking lot, wherever that is.
yeah, AKA the Big E.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Ali. I almost said Dolph Freaky, aka. I know these people better by their Dolphin nicknames or whatever. Ali will be that's Dolph Freaky, so she's gonna be out there as well. So that's good stuff to know. Is Steven W whatever. I always mess up Steven. No, it's Steven's.
Stephen Daniels.
Yeah, Stephen Daniels. See, I really butchered the name.
Yeah.
Stephen Daniels, another good show guy. But is he
Mhm.
going to be out there?
I don't think he is. I think
Okay.
I watched his show, and I think he's moving. He and his family are moving, so they're in the midst of the moving to another state.
Yeah. So yeah. I would just imagine that NorCal would be out there. So they're all that's
Hmm.
out there. But okay, they're moving to another state. But I know he does a lot of those Finn's parties where they all get together and
Yeah,
stuff. I
yeah.
don't know if 305 Sports Babe. I don't know if she's going to be out there. She travels to some
Hmm.
games too. I think she's going to the
Hmm.
Eagles game I saw, which is way down this. But there's different people at different times. But anyway, what I'm saying, it's not going to be a dramatic home field other than the travel out there. It's not going to be like I don't think it's going to be we're going to be like super loud or overcharged Charger fans draining us out like if you're going to Arrowhead, which we don't have to do this year because we're going to be in Europe playing the Chiefs. So we escaped that dagger. But that's a tough place to play, and I just don't see that. Come on, yeah. Hey, I know last year's game was one of my least favorite Dolphin games. I mean, as it turned out, the score wasn't even that lopsided, but you just never felt like the Dolphins were in that game. And I know Chargers act like they blew us out, but I just think if the Dolphins play halfway decent, they win that game. And they just, for whatever reason, they couldn't get out of their own way. Tua did not have a good game, and it's just, you know,
Raphael, are you in California? Are you in California, Raphael?
he might be since he says that last year
Yeah,
there.
sounds like he might be in California, and he was at 29 Palms, so he might have just
Yeah,
settled there, like a lot of folks
yeah.
do
No,
when they get
Papa
out of
Paul,
the
that's
military.
expensive, man, going to those away games. It's already expensive enough just for the home games, and then you throw in air travel, hotels, and game tickets and food every night and whatever, man. Yeah, it gets really expensive. Oh, he's in Arizona now.
Arizona, okay.
I saw Arizona being accused of tanking. They're already like the Dolphins were back when, our tank for 2 a year. Everyone's saying they're tanking for Caleb Williams. But we shall see. So yeah, I mean that game. It's not going to be a dramatic home field advantage. So I can see us going in there and beating the Chargers on the road, and not really being not being that big of a challenge as far as the crowds. But the team, unfortunately, is a very good team. They
Well,
were in the
no,
playoffs like they were one and done, but they were
mhm,
winning big, and they really choked that lead away against Jacksonville last year,
right.
which is another team that everyone's sleeping on. Jacksonville, not to be the AFC is
Mhm.
brutal this year. The Dolphins are
And
finally good. I think the Dolphins finally good. And what happens? There's a whole bunch of
everyone
coaches.
else gets good.
I can only be
Well,
like New England.
also, I think Cleveland is gonna be a sleeper as well.
Oh, I know.
Cleveland,
Yeah, they might
watch out
because
for
they have a really
Cleveland
good offensive line.
and Detroit. We'll see tonight. They're playing Kansas City, so we'll see how Detroit looks tonight. But
Yeah,
I
over
wanted
in
to
the
make
NFC.
mention
Yeah.
too, and I forgot what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought. It's terrible
Well,
when you
you
get old.
believe me, I don't. And guys, like I said, I already told you about Fanatics. If you want to buy something from Fanatics, just do Dolphins Thirsty a little favor. You will help the channel. But also, more importantly, I will be walking in February, hopefully after a very good Miami Dolphins season, all the way up to the Super Bowl. It's February 24th. I'll be walking there. And if there's a link there if you want to donate to the cause, every penny goes to the cause. They do a really good job every year and raise a lot of money. So if you want to sponsor me, hit the support me. It's not really supporting me, it's supporting the cause, but the button says support me. It's really like sponsoring me during my 5K walk. But yeah, so I do believe, see, we're going to talk a lot Sunday more about the game than we have tonight because we got into the good old time talk. I know without Kelsey, hey, maybe Kansas City would lose. You don't
Well,
know.
they said they were gonna lose with Tyreek, and they won the Super Bowl. So
Yeah, I know. But it's going to be fun, seeing
yeah,
this tonight and seeing
yeah.
how, because I do believe Patrick Mahomes is one of just the best quarterbacks I've seen. And I say that seeing Dan Marino, but he's like one of the best, like since Dan Marino, just actually throwing passes that you don't think could be made, and he does. Yes, Mahomes, has won Super Bowls. Unfortunately, our Danny Boy never did. But Dan Marino, with the things he could do, this guy just reminds me that he's like so really, really good. And yes, that's no knock on Tom Brady. We all know he's the winningest quarterback, and it's probably no one's ever. Well, maybe Mahomes can. He already has a couple and been in another one. But it's going to be hard to knock off. I mean that's crazy that Brady won, but just for great passing and crazy stuff, Mahomes. We're going to see what he can do without down his star. I lived in the late '80s in LA City. Wow,
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
'80s.
So, Rob, I wanted to make mention of this too as well. The Miami Dolphins, and I know you were talking about the Los Angeles Chargers. I want to say San Diego so bad, but the Los
Oh,
Angeles
so do I.
Chargers.
Believe me.
Yeah, you said that that there might not be a lot of there may be they don't have a problem with the fans at the stadium in where the Chargers are playing, but believe it or not, Tua and the offense were practicing
Well,
silent
I
count
guess you always have
snapping.
to prepare. Yeah, I mean, they may be. I'm sure that SoFi
So
can
they
get
were doing
loud
that
because
this.
SoFi
Yeah,
can get loud. So who knows? But so yeah,
yeah.
he was working, and my screen's not working right now. I'm trying to bring up one of his comments. There we go. Was working in Moderna, Calo. Oh, there's your dog. My
There he
dog's in
is.
the same room as me too, but kind of fell asleep on the job here. I always tease that my dog's the CEO of Dolphins Thirsty because every time I'm writing something, I look over and he's just next to me. So I say, he's my boss, man. My boss is taking a nap right now, and so I can goof off.
There
So
you go.
but it's all good. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's just not. I mean, if you told me, oh, would you rather go to play the Chargers in LA or the Chiefs in Kansas City? I would say I'd much rather go play the Chargers there.
Oh yeah,
So
Chargers all day.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, we avoided playing the Chiefs this year, so that's good stuff.
Hmm.
We're almost getting ready to wrap up. I'll drop a link if anyone wants to. We've really got a few more minutes, but if Paul wants to come in and talk, say how people can find him in his club. Paul, you can come in. I'm going to be logging off in about 10 minutes. I forgot to drop that. I said I was going to drop it. Like you said, oh, hey, it stinks. But anyway, Paul or Mr. Courtwright, any of you guys that want to come in and join, you're more than welcome. Like I said, we only got about 10 more minutes, and then that's it. So as far as
And I'm going to leave for a second. I'm going to let my dog out real quick. He's
okay,
been
no
bugging me to
problem.
go outside. All right,
All right, no problem. So,
don't go
Mr.
nowhere.
Yeah, I won't. So, Mr. Courtwright, it's good that you remember a lot of those old names. It's a lot of times it's the younger crowd that comes in here, and when I start saying like AJ Dewey and Doug Betters and all those names that you mentioned and stuff, and like Papa Paul naming them, see any surprises to Andrew? I'm sorry. So, any surprise to add to them? Well, we'll see, man. I hope not, man. Right now, I will hope not. I would venture to say that list that they already have, but like Paul did point out, at least only a couple of those are Mark. I remember some, but not. Yeah, Marco Coleman. I think he was out of Georgia Tech, and he was pretty good too. I think we actually got him maybe the same year we did another. Maybe like Troy Vincent and him came in the same year, so it wasn't that bad of a draft. But Marco Coleman, he had some years where he got some pressure on the quarterback. Pretty sure he's out of Georgia Tech, but that's just going on memory. I'm not looking at anything, so there's a good chance I'm wrong. But I'm normally very good with that era of Miami Dolphins football. So I do believe he played for Georgia Tech. So yeah, that's fun, man. Talking about these older guys, man. That's my wheelhouse. Like you remember the 70s like really well, though. That's like your wheelhouse, like the 1970 Dolphins. You can tell
Oh
me the
yeah.
game that because you were at the game Bob Greasy got hurt and
Hmm.
had to leave, and Earl
Yep.
Morrow came in to replace him, and Dolphins continued to win without him. So yes, again, two guys that were beasts that may have not had the sexy positions or the sexy stats, but they did everything they had to make Zach Thomas have the big numbers and help him out a lot. So that is
Oh
good
yeah.
stuff right there. So good, really good names, Mr. Courtwright. I love those fans that's been around a while. So Steve, you did your dog duty, so that's good. You got him out.
Yeah.
So So anyway, like I said, we're almost there. I dropped the link, but Paul may have been gone already. So we're gonna close out here in a minute.
All
But
right.
guys, 10 a.m. Sunday morning, Steve and I. 10 a.m. Saturday morning is going to be two other hosts. One of them is Dr. Reggie Brown, who actually played in the NFL. That's Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And is a guy that knows a lot of football named Justin. He's known as Digging in the Trenches. He's done a lot of shows with me over the past few months. And him and Reggie Brown will be talking all things Dolphins Saturday morning, 10 a.m. And then again, Steve and I, 10 a.m. And then sometime on Monday, because by the time the game's over, I'm out one because everyone and their mother is going to be doing a post game after the Dolphins game. And that's something just goes drastically up one way or the other, then maybe I will hop on and do a live show. But most likely Monday, I would do the follow up to the Dolphins and the Chargers. And then you can find Steve and I on the Real Fins Talk Network again, talking about the game and looking ahead to the Patriots game at that point. And it'd be a looking ahead. Hey, Tommy. Welcome, man. And if you're new to the channel, I would love a big thumbs up, and that'd be awesome. It helps the show. That's awesome. And it's good to see you, Tommy. So we're almost over, Tommy, but thank you so much, man. Every second counts, so that's great. So I appreciate you coming in here. Every time a first time comment, I have to play a little more on the Dolphins.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal.
Here you go. That's for you, Tommy, being a comment and a little. I did it. I like you so much. I did it twice. And you are watching one more little sound bit. You're watching Dolphins Chatter. So there you go. Thank you so much, man, for coming in. I love it, man. It's really good. Yeah, I know we could use a new we could use a new fight song, but hey, I still like the old one. But I'm old school that way. It's just to me, I just have memories every time they scored a touchdown when I would go to all the games. Every time they score, they play the song. So it's like positive thoughts in my head. And then you're at the actual stadium watching the Dolphins live. They play that song. Yes, Tommy, that's the most important thing right there. Win. Doesn't matter if you win an ugly game 13-10 or a beautiful game 34-21. How it's changed up Steve's score a little bit. So, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just come out with the W. WWW. Because I'm telling you right now, we won't be in panic mode so much in that game unless we just get blown out. Then, yeah, maybe, Dolphin fans, the players and the coaches and all the guys that get paid to be calm, they're not going to be panicked. But Dolphin Twitter and social media, they're going to be going nuts if the Dolphins lose. Like, can you imagine if they start 0-2? That's what I say. This team needs to get off to a good, solid start. 2 tough games to start on the road before we finally come back to the friendly confines of Hard Rock in week 3 against the Denver Broncos. So we definitely got to be. I want to be 2-0. Worse and worse, 1-1 coming back to Miami. But with this team, there's no reason we shouldn't be 2-0 if we do what we have to do, avoid costly mistakes. Like Mike McDaniel says, there's some high percent, I think 70-something percent. If you win the turnover battle in the NFL, you're gonna win. Last year, Miami didn't create enough turnovers on defense.
Oh, they did.
And then they gave up more. So you got to be positive in the turnover ratio. Start creating more and keeping it better. And that's a big key to winning. I know, once again, it's not football rocket science. It's just football 101. Avoid turnovers and obviously score more points than the other team if you really want to get to football 101. But, have a well-balanced attack on offense. Be complementary football on offense, defense, and special teams. Like I say, I'm not rewriting any major, oh my, I've never heard this before, but those cliches are true for reason. No, the first 2 games, Tommy, the first game's out in now instead of Steve, I want to say San Diego, out in Los Angeles. Then we travel back. Then got to go up north to play in Foxborough, Massachusetts, in the Boston area to take on the Patriots. Then finally we come and play the 3rd game against the Denver Broncos in Miami Gardens, technically. And I will be at that game. My son and I got tickets to that game, and we'll be there. I'll be at a couple games this year. I don't have the season tickets like I did in the past, but I got a couple already coming up. So I hope to meet some of these people. I met Paul one time before 1 minute at a softball game this year, where the Miami Dolphins had a charity softball game. But yeah, tell me if you're a Dolphin fan, man, I would appreciate that. Uh, follow, but only if we earn it. I'm old fashioned. If we earn it, but if you could throw in that big old like tonight, that'd be super duper, like Mark Duper. That'd be awesome. But Steve, we're here. We're at 8 o'clock. You and I again will be on 10 a.m. Sunday morning Eastern Standard Time, 9 your time, Steve. So don't get confused.
Yep.
We always text like a million times. 10 your time, my time, or whatever. So now we know though. He's in Texas, guys, so he's 1 hour behind me here in Florida. I wish I was 1 hour smarter than him, but I'm not. He's a very smart guy.
Well, thank you.
Oh, this is like you, Steve. He's a fan since the 70s. So
yeah, well, I've been a fan since 1969.
Yeah, no, that's the year I was born, 1969.
Yeah, and
I
I had
real memories of the Dolphins kick in the 1980s. I remember my mom and my sisters would tell me about, I was already a fan back then. I would and talk about it, but I don't really remember. The game that really sticks out first in my mind, I mean, I've told this 10,000 times on the show if you're a devout follower of the show, but that 1981 Chargers game that we lost, that we were down 24-0. Don Strock enters in place of David Woodley. We come back, miraculously tie it up, miraculous comeback, only to lose in overtime. Then, now I can say it, the San Diego Chargers. And, they had Ellen Wenjo and, all that.
I was at that game.
Yeah, no, I wasn't at that game. I was at a lot of classic games in the 1980s.
Yeah, I was at that game.
At that game.
Yeah.
But that game, though, that reeled me in forever, man. I like fishing, so I have to do that game reeled me in. Even though we lost, that's when I really thought, oh my God, we lost. We lost. That stinks. And, that's the first time I actually felt a little oomph when we lost. And then don't forget, and of course, when we lost the Super Bowls in the 80s, I was a teenager, mind you. I thought it was like the end of the world that, oh my God, there's like it. But when we lost with Marino, I really thought, oh, we're going to be back all the time. That was only his second year. He had just come off breaking every single record known to man in the NFL quarterbacks at the time.
Yeah.
Since been broken because there's different rules and stuff. I'm going to be on old part and claim it's because it's different rules. But, he broke records when it was really hard, when you could knock the quarterback off his butt. And, if he was a little late or whatever, he would get knocked and thrown down, hit in the head, and they wouldn't even call it penalties. And they could mug the receivers more back in the day. So I thought for sure, man, we had all those record breakers. Okay, he lost to the experience of Joe Montana, but he's going to be back, and we're going to kick butt. Never again did we make the Super Bowl, and we haven't since. So it's been way too long, Steve.
Yeah, for sure. We're due.
Yeah, Don Strock. Many people to this day think if Don Shula, greatest coach ever, so I'm not going to knock him, and may he rest in peace. But I know people, I was a little guy at the time, but I know family members and friends said, oh, if he would have gone to Don Strock in the second half when he realized Woodley wasn't doing anything, we would have beaten the Redskins. But we would never know. That's what makes being a Dolphin fan a Dolphin fan. We always have the what ifs, could have, and would have, and should have. Just like if Bo Kemper could have just held on to that ball when Joe Theismann knocked the ball out of his hand. And guys, if you didn't know, believe it or not, Joe Theismann was actually drafted by the Miami Dolphins. They could never come to a contract agreement back in 1971. He went on to play Canada football, the then Redskins, so I can say it because they were the Redskins. Back then, they traded for the rights to Theismann, and the rest is history. Just another one of those little weird moments. So, but anyway, I digress. So, again, guys, we got a couple shows coming up here over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. You can find content on Dolphin Thirsty here on YouTube. Just check out my site. On my site, I write everything other than if you see fantasy football, because I'm not a fantasy football guy. So I got this young guy I know. He writes some fantasy football stuff for me during the season. His first blog will be coming up this week. So
great. That's good stuff.
I told him he has to throw a little. He's really good at fantasy football. But I said, listen, I'm Dolphin Thursday, so you got to throw some Dolphins. So I'm interested to see how it goes and what he throws in there Dolphin wise. So I'm sure he would mention Waddle and some of our backs and stuff like that. So we'll see. And again, guys, it is awesome to have you guys here. I'm basically out of it. And remember, like I say, if you're ever going to buy anything on Fanatics, help out the channel. Click on the safe secured link. All the transactions are taking place on Fanatics. Everything's there, safe, secure. But I get us a little bit of commission, which is really, I say I, just because I'm the one speaking right now, but it's really the channel. It's a little bit commission. They're the big boys on the block. No reason to compete and try to open my own. So why not take a little slice of the price? If you're going to buy, like I said, if not, no big deal. But if you say, oh, man, I'm going to go buy something from Fanatics, let me help a guy get a little. You paid nothing extra. All discounts, codes, everything's applicable. You still get that. So that is awesome. And if you guys haven't checked out dolphinthirsty.com, please do that. And, oh, yeah. And like I say, it's always good, Steve, to agree with fellow Dolphins. But like you always say, we don't always agree. But the one thing we can agree on, we want the Dolphins to win. I used to trade that hard. I steal it from you every episode. But that's it. That's what we want. We want the Dolphins to win. That's the one thing we can agree. We may say, one guy may say Tua is the greatest quarterback ever. The next guy may say he stinks. One guy may say Chris Greer is the greatest general manager you've had in years, and another guy say he may stinks. But one thing we do agree on, we want the Dolphins to win some football games.
Absolutely.
Wait is over. Wait is over to get a playoff. Oh, and thank you, whoever gave me a like on Facebook. I'm trying to build that Facebook page up. I see a little thumbs up there from Facebook. So whoever you are out there, I do not see. If you're listening on Facebook, if you throw a comment, I don't know if I get the comments on here from Facebook because I don't see them pop up. But because everyone tonight that's commented have been on YouTube. But anyway, guys, fins up, and Steve, Sunday morning we will be same place, not same time. It's not the same back channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same time. So it will be 10 a.m. Sunday morning. We will run again.
Looking forward to it.
Steve, any final thoughts before I close out my video here?
Well, no, I mean, we probably summed it all up, and we'll give I'll give my prediction on Sunday morning, who I think is going to win the game. Looking forward to the game, and I'm going to watch the game tonight. I'm curious.
I think the fiber falling off the traffic here. If everyone wants to go watch that game, so
absolutely.
Football guys, it's not the Dolphins, so at least mean we don't have to be as nervous. So. Thank you, Tommy, again, man. We always love getting a new viewer in here. If it's not for guys like you coming in, and like I say, if you ever want to join the show, Tommy, I drop links all the time, and you pop in here and join the show. But or if you just like commenting like that, that's perfect too. Because we're just here, we're not here really promoting a whole bunch of stuff. I did promote, my little Fanatics a little bit, but that's it. Nothing like crazy. And that's it, man. It's just good Dolphin fan. And Steve, I will be ending the show, so just get ready for your little trademark that we close all your shows out. You ready?
Ready?
Yep, ready.
Dolphins #1, baby! Dolphins #1!
Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you want to know, it's the Dolphins.